But we move on to Touring After the Apocalypse, episode 5. And the girls are in Chiba Prefecture, and they are riding through mud, wondering if they're gonna make it through. But the mud is too much for the little electric bike that could. And Yoko puts her foot down, and mud gets in her shoe. Irie stands up on the bike and scopes their surroundings and says just a little farther, and there is a bridge, and it looks like they're on the edge of the wetlands. Yoko is like, sick. Well, let's keep going. And she whips out her phone and says they want to get to Umihotaru, but they've been taking the long way due to the rising sea levels. Yoko revs up the bike, but it slips because of the mud, and the girls fall, and now they're all muddy, but have a good time. And Irie finds a turtle, and they push the bike through the rest of the mud and make it to the bridge. They stop on the bridge and wash their clothes and collect water and clean up the bike. And Yoko says she never noticed all the little scratches on the bike, and she should do some more maintenance sometime. They relax and charge the bike, and Yoko is concocting something over the fire with sugar and baking soda. And she jokes with Irie that it's a science experiment and it could explode at any moment. She mixes in the baking soda and stirs vigorously, and the concoction grows. And Irie pushes her out of the way, saying it's going to explode. But Yoko has just been making gamer sups. And you too can go to gamersups.gg to save 10% off of your order using promo code DJ Montague with limited edition flavors like honeycomb toffee.
Not a real flavor, but Bloodlust, Foxley, Kissy Kissy, I forget what it's called. And the other one I got, which I also forget because Sakura Splash, are fucking delicious. I am highly addicted. You absolutely should get some. And also, the cannons on that woman need to chill. Golly.
Is she a baddie? Maybe she's part of Shocker.
Maybe she is. That's like not a shirt. You know what I mean? Like,
it's two pieces of paper like diagonally laying across.
It's not even, because it's like bent in such a way that it's gone in a moment. That's not real clothing.
Yeah, just a gentle breeze is enough to expose all of the delicious flavors that you can get at gamersups.gg using promo code DJ Montague at checkout for 10% off of your entire order.
Mm-hmm. I'm drinking Sakura Splash and it's fucking amazing.
But no, Yoko isn't making gamer sups. She's making honeycomb toffee, and then the girls sit down and enjoy it. Yoko is like, Irie, you should try making some too. And she does, and she burns all of hers, but they eat them anyway, and they aren't half bad. Their laundry isn't done drying yet, so they decide to stay the night where they are at and pitch a tent. And they have a small instructional on how to pitch a tent, but Irie notices a small hole in the tent from where they messed up pitching it before. Solo camping for two did it better.
Yes, but I don't think that this show was trying to get people to go camping, you know?
Actually, like in later episodes, there's more of this instructional video thing.
This show's trying to do too much.
Yeah, and like the thing is they focused on that hole in the tent, but it's never brought up again.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, what was the point of that?
I was hoping it was going to rain and then water would get in the tent and then
you just drown the kids.
No, damn, not Greg. That, but like hilarity would ensue, not because they drowned, but you know, like something would happen. I've said this before in many an episode that I dislike when you give, not you, but when the show gives the viewers information that is not then circled back and closed off. It's like, why even have that in there? Like, why have the hole in the tent?
Right.
Besides, I guess, to show that, the girls tried to pitch the tent once and put a hole in it. Like, but I don't know why that matters or why that's even important.
Mm-hmm.
And if that is the case, then later on in the series, when they show why they're doing their stupid instructional videos on how to pitch a tent, they should have known better anyway. Yeah, it's just those little things I feel like with Touring After the Apocalypse are starting to come to the forefront a bit more, which is what is making me like less entertained by the show.
Yeah, like the mystery of the show, it's like they're trying to do mystery, they're trying to do some elements of comedy, they're trying to do some educational stuff, they're trying to do like I guess a day in the life, like slice of life almost,
Yeah.
but like travel. They're trying to do all this stuff, and all of it's just like, okay, I guess, but what are we talking about, right? Like, what is this? You're just doing too much. You're doing too much.
What they presented to us in the beginning was basically like these two girls traveling because the world basically ended and they're the only two people there.
Right.
And I guess they're doing it in a sense by showing how they're traveling, I guess. But I mean, I do agree with you that I feel like the show is trying to do like a little too much, and there isn't like I feel like the underlying story is getting lost in these little
What underlying
adventures
story?
of the apocalypse.
Yeah. I'm trying to pay attention to what's happening, and it's like I'm trying to like pick up on how the apocalypse happened or what is like, and I'm being rewarded 0 for caring about the background.
I think that's where like all of my theories come to play in the end, because maybe this was designed this way where like they're not going to give you the answer. You're supposed to just, you know, watch and then come to your own conclusion on exactly what happened. But I feel that it's a little too abstract for me.
Okay.
I'd like a little bit more information, I just don't want it to be like completely out there. And like, you know, if you look at like Inception, for example, they kind of did that at the end where it's like, oh, is Leonardo DiCaprio dreaming? Is he not dreaming?
He's
Like,
not. You're welcome. He's awake and he gets to see his kids. He gets to live the rest of his life.
Yeah. But they make you think though, right? And then you kind of have to like put the pieces together on why he's alive. Because when they ended it, it left you with that cliffhanger of, is he alive? Is he not? Oh, not alive, but dreaming, right? Is he dreaming? Is he not dreaming? And then, you know, you're rewarded by paying attention to things
Right.
in the movie that then you can come to that conclusion.
Spoiler alert at home, the spinning top is not his totem. That was his wife's totem. So, like, it has, if you pay attention to what's going on, yeah, it has nothing to do with whether the top spins or not, or falls over, or wobbles at all. Has nothing to do with whether, it's the fact that you know if it's his totem or not, and that he's, like, going, anyways, fuck it. We're not dissecting Inception, we're dissecting anime.
That's like my example of like a show that did this kind of style of like,
Yes. Yeah.
what is actually happening? Do we not know? Like, let's look at the breadcrumbs and figure it out. Touring After the Apocalypse leaves like a bit to be desired.
Yes.
Anyway, they chill out in the tent as the sun sets and reminisce on how comfy the beds in the shelter were. And Yoko is like, hey, Irie, after we reach Umi Hotaru, why don't we go back to the shelter? Irie is like, why we do that? And Yoko says she wants to do some maintenance on the bike, and she does have some tools on hand, but the shelter has all the equipment they would ever need. Yoko says they wouldn't have to worry about food or laundry, and the beds are comfy. But there are still places that she would like to see, and the shelter is so boring. Irie says she'll go wherever Yoko goes, but then has a flashback to Ichido and the Tokyo Big Sight and the Akiba radio station and says traveling is better than the shelter.
I took a picture of this tree that's like wrapped around something.
Yeah, that tree showed up in last episode and I think another episode, and it's that tree's a recurring theme, which is another thing that isn't explained. Like, they kind of explain in episode 2 with Ichiro that, oh yeah, the orca is gigantic because of endocrine disruptors. I guess we can assume that the same thing happened to the wildlife and the vegetation, because we do see in other shots, I think we've seen it already. Like, there's like fucking big ass animals and shit, like bigger than they normally are.
Yes.
Like, I think there's like a boar and like, oh, in the last episode when they were touring the zoo, like there was like a big ass turtle, like kaiju walking through the city or something like that.
I mean, it was like a story and a half tall.
Bigger than a normal turtle.
Yeah, by quite a bit, obviously,
Yeah. But Yoko is like, well, that's silly. You know everything, Irie. And she says she's just reading her database, and Yoko knows more than she does. So then I have a note here that says, is Irie just a straight up robot then? Like, not a cyborg like Ichido, if she has a database and not like a consciousness transferred to that body?
Right. I don't understand.
Me either, because it's not explained.
It just like, also this whole scene, like they do the fishing, and then I don't even would know that before like major storms, that wildlife generally goes into a frenzy. because they feel senses. They have better senses for imminent danger, and like the wind calming down before the storm hits and being like silent, completely non-moving, is like an indication of a large wind situation just over there. So like all of these are indicators. And then Yoko's like, dude, did time stop? Are we in a simulation? And you're like, why did you say that? Because like, I don't know if that ever gets explained, because they brought up the shelter. You bring up the time stop. That would be like an indicator to me of like a glitch in this system that they're in, that they're still possibly in the shelter. They haven't left at all. And they're just in some like Star Trek style room world simulator to help them. And that would make more sense to me than them being out in the world and like getting fucking wrecked in the wilderness at any given time. Because like these kids would not survive. Like, I don't give a shit if you have a Yamaha that's fucking solar powered to get you around. The food that's available, you would have to hunt and gather, right? There is nothing, and you would have to have the information about what's poisonous, all of this stuff. And they don't seem to have that. Like, Irie's supposed to be this database, and you're seeing that she is, like, fallible. It's frustrating me a lot.
Yeah, you make some interesting points. And because this is episode 5. So from here, like, the episodes start to drop more of those like weird hints of like why did you say that, like what is that supposed to mean? And that's why I'm saying like maybe they did it on purpose, but for me it's like a little too high up to make any sense, because now I'm questioning like, was it just translated weird? But even then, like on one of these questionable sentences later on in the series, I like turned off subtitles and I listened to it and I'm like, no, it's translated correctly. Like that's how I would translate it.
When I get there, we'll see, as you know, the Japanese authority.
Yes. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I mean, you kind of said it. They are fishing using the burnt toffee, but then the wind dies down, the birds are gone, insects are gone, water's not moving. Yoko's like, did the time stop? And then a bunch of fish just swim away, and then Irie catches like a fucking alligator or something.
It's just a real fish, though. I mean,
yeah, it's not an alligator. But then Yoko is fixated on the moon. And then I have a note here that says the moon is fucking gigantic, and there is a chunk missing from the moon.
Yeah. Greg, someone shot the moon, dude.
It was probably Irie with her laser arm.
Yeah, that at some point.
That could possibly be explained, but I don't want to.
Okay.
It's later, like maybe 2 or 3 episodes from here. But the next morning they ride off, but the wind has really picked up, and Yoko didn't get much sleep, and she said something was stirring up her emotions. And Irie is like, did you eat too much? And Yoko is like, nah, that's heartburn, as some ominous clouds start to roll in. Yoko wonders if it was the gigantic full moon, and that moon was way bigger than usual, and she's never seen that before, and maybe it's a bad omen. Irie is like, nah, looked like a normal moon to me.
That moon was fucking, like, directly next to Earth, like, in the atmosphere close. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
it was fucking gigantic, yeah. But Irie explains it. Using her database, she says that the moon looking that big is an optical illusion and explains the science behind the optical illusion. Did you get a screenshot of her, like, whiteboard explaining it?
And then doing this fucking thing.
But then the wind blows some debris at the girls, and they run over some fucking nail bat and get a flat tire. Irie is like, holy shit, you were right. You predicted this bad omen. And then they have an instructional video on how to change a motorcycle tire. Not change, but how to fix a puncture in a motorcycle tire. Mm-hmm. And they find the puncture, but Yoko cuts herself on her finger, but is just like, it's a flesh wound. Tastes like metal.
This is why these kids are dead. Like,
you just got tetanus.
Yeah. What the fuck, dude?
But wait till next episode. Just wait till next episode.
Okay.
But they patch it and fill the tire back up, and then the storm rolls in, and Yoko is like, we're almost there. We're gonna race the storm. But find themselves in a full downpour. They take shelter in a bus to equip their raincoats, and Irie says there's probably going to be a storm, and there's like triple tornadoes out at sea. But Yoko was like, hell yeah. And they ride out. And Yoko says if she stayed in the shelter, she would have never experienced this.
And then, like, the really lighthearted music starts playing, so you know they're not gonna die, right? They're all, like, having a great time. And it's like, be-do-do-do-do-do-do, like, fucking total J-pop.
Oh, man, look at us,
Dude,
two kids taking on the world.
The fear and pants shitting, this screenshot right here, like, they are alone. The only thing to their left and right is the ocean with water spouts. You don't see it in the screenshot, but I think I get one of the screenshots of the water spouts that are from the water to the sky. It is tornadoes, several. The air pressure, like instability of the air as you're driving this shitty little Yamaha.
It's not a Yamaha, it's a Sero 225. Okay,
the fucking 40C. Sorry, the 225cc Sero.
But it's not even CC because it's electric now.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
I, dude, this episode was just like, these kids should be like the debris flying in the air just takes both of their heads off. Like it's suspend all disbelief.
Because that's what I was saying before, because it's like, number one, we've seen it multiple times in this series that they like the road is just fucking broken. Like it's just not there anymore.
Yeah.
And they almost drive off because Yoko isn't paying attention. So they are in this storm with fucking tornadoes on a motorcycle on an unknown road that they don't even know if it is even functioning anymore. It could just be a giant hole in the fucking middle and they're never going to know.
They would never see it. They would never see it.
And that's what I mean. They're not even trying to survive, because if you were truly trying to survive, you wouldn't even do this. You would have stayed at your camp and just waited for the storm to end. But they decided to be like riders on the storm chasers, and just go for it.
They're new Twister. They're the new Twister, dude. Yeah, that was that bad feeling you got. Maybe it was about the storm. Shut up, you fucking cyborg. You should be helping. Like, what the fuck are we talking about?
Well, she did help because she used CG to show them driving across the bridge. Did you notice that?
Yeah, like a couple frames for the where they had the rain suit on.
Why the fuck was that even there? Like,
yeah, it was weird.
They have used like little bits of CG throughout the series, but this was like a full blown like
it was weird.
Like rendering of them on the motorcycle.
Hold on, let me see. No, I don't.
Yeah, and I just didn't know why they decided to go that art direction, like randomly in the middle of this episode, and they never do it again.
Here's how fucking
never, but
terrifying those water spouts look, by the way. And there are fucking 7 in this screenshot. 7. And the building they're trying to go through is like in between 2. There's lightning. They almost get hit by lightning. Like it's a very weird episode for like the story we're trying to tell to me.
Let me get through the notes, and then we'll talk about it. Yoko is on some adrenaline high now, just riding the storm. And Irie is like, sorry. Are you okay? And she's like, nothing can defeat us. There are waves washing over the bridge, and they get caught in a wave. And Yoko is like, damn, that was close. And Irie is like, maybe your bad feeling was about this storm. And she's like, yeah, probably. And there's like fucking 6 tornadoes out at sea, but Yoko is having the best day of her life. And then, as we've been talking about, my note says they would be 1,000% dead.
Okay. Also, really quickly, there are a bunch of waves hitting this road they're on. And they're like, oh, driving under them, dude, this is so sick. This is amazing. And then they get hit by a wave. And the only way they're not dead is because of a fucking car that is to their right. They get blasted up against the car, and they're in the bike. They're like, that was crazy, right? That was crazy. Well, we're right up ahead. That's where we're going to stay the night. Let's start this bitch back up. Vroom, vroom. And then they just fucking drive off. Like, it is so silly to me.
Like, I drove through something like that. Not like the tornadoes, but like just torrential downpour, like water just over the road, like all messed up. When I was in Florida. And it was scary. I was terrified.
Oh, it's terrifying.
You know, I had to like make my way through, and I did it anyway. If you were on a motorcycle, you would be fucking dead. There's no way that you could ride a motorcycle through a storm like I drove through in a car. And that is tame compared to what they are doing right now.
Right. And they're on a 225cc Yamaha, Greg, fucking like in the fucking storm. Like, it's terrible what is happening in this episode.
Yeah.
It is setting a bad precedent for kids in the future. I drove up from Reno to Tahoe a couple weeks ago. We had a really bad storm. I ended up having to stay in Tahoe. It was like, I had a video of it, and I know how to drive in the snow. I've been driving in the snow for fucking 20 years. I have not the best car for it. I saw people in like full fucking 4-wheel drive cars just spinning out like Subarus, just going woo, because people don't know how to drive in the storm. No amount of skill gets you through this. If the wind picked up and I had to slow down for any reason in this snowstorm, my car would have been like whoop, just right off to the side and just slowly just shifted right to the right. I would have got stuck immediately. I would have never got that car out ever again. That car would be up there to this day. Them with less protection from the elements and less weight getting hit by the wave and thrown into the fucking car and being like, yeah, that was pretty sick, right? And then just keep it on going. Like, I can't. It fucking pissed me off.
But they make it to Umi Hotaru, and Aris is like, damn, you okay, girl? And Yoko throws off her wet riding gloves and is like, man, I thought we were goners, and hugs Airi. And she says she'll be more careful from now on. But then she's like, that was fucking sick, though.
Yeah.
And Airi is like, yeah, that was sick.
They fucking Shaka. They're like, they wrap their arms around each other like, it was fucking tight, dude. And you're just like, dude, shut the fuck up. And then they go to bed and they're fucking right near windows while this torrential downpour is happening. Because obviously, like, debris can't break broken windows. Like, it's just, it's impossible. And then fucking the rats. And then the rats. And then I'm fucking, I'm mad. I'm fucking pissed.
Okay.
I hate this episode.
The massive tornado sea storm is still raging and they start a fire. And Yoko is like, maybe all that weird stuff that happened yesterday was because of the storm. And Airi is like, well, the wind dying happens all the time, and everything else had to have been a coincidence. Yoko is like, okay, maybe I crazy. But Airi is like, nah, maybe you not crazy. I can't get premonitions, and yours was pretty spot on.
Also, she walks from the darkness into the light, but her color, like, it becomes more red when she's talking about this. Her eyes are closed, her head is tilted a little bit askew. It's a very weird sentence, the way that she says it.
Yes. And this happens more. And like, this is what I mean. Like, I feel like they're starting to add these little things in there. And in other episodes, it happens too. Like, I get a weird feeling like, is Airi just going to fucking kill her? Like, while she's asleep?
Like, I don't know, man. And then nothing happens and everyone was fine. And then the show ends and everyone's like, that was it?
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it when it comes up. But this is the beginning. Yoko is like, well, shit. Maybe if I have a positive hunch, that would be better. But then stares off into the distance, and Airi is like, what's up? And she's like, nah, nothing. And then it shows a scene of a bunch of beady-eyed red rats in the darkness. And that's how the episode ends.
Mm-hmm. It is a very strange episode, for sure. Like, yeah, we've talked about it enough. I didn't like this episode.
I'm glad that you picked up on some of this stuff too, because as I was watching it, I was thinking the same thing. I'm just like, that's really weird. Like Airi's mannerisms, how she's talking, like the sentence structure, like what's going on right now. And yeah, I think you might actually be onto something with what you said earlier about the whole time stopping. Like, are we just on the Star Trek holodeck and she's just like living a fake life?
Yeah. Because that's the only way she lives, right?
I have a bunch of theories on that, but
all right. This episode was not fun. I had less fun this episode.
It's not going to get better. So just get ready.
Sick.
But what I do